Okay, guys, real quick. So, I had money to get insurance, and then I had a disconnect bill coming for my electric, and that's because we were told if you need help with your electric, which I had very little hours, especially January, right? You have to have a disconnect in order to get it. Push back on electric companies, okay? So I'm like, oh, okay, finally, we got our disconnect. Great, I can get that help. This was today. And then I see the date. The disconnect is for Monday. And I'm like, what? So I called them and they're like, yeah, we need this much money today to put you on a payment arrangement. So I had called and I said, look, this is no, I don't have this for today. So she's like, well, if you can do $50 today, that would be great and we'll get you on a payment arrangement. I'm like, let me call this organization first. Called them, didn't get through. And then I called the electric company back, and this really depends on who you talk to, okay? Because this happened to me and my husband. We had like $1,000 electric bill that we just, it piles up, it comes up fast, and a lot of times you need to get it that high to get the help. So I had talked to somebody, and he was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And then someone dropped the ball at the electric company and shut us off. And this is like with three little kids. So today I'm like, I'm going to push back and I'm going to tell you that I was offered $50 instead of what you're asking for. So their inconsistency there is huge in the electric companies. So she's like, well, let me go back and listen to the recording. She's like, do you have her name? I'm like, no, I don't have her name, but she told me she would be recording the phone call. So she's like, let me go back, see who you talked to, and let us listen to the recording. So you usually won't catch me lying. You usually won't. And so she's like, okay, we heard the recording, so we're going to honor what was offered. And she's like, so if you pay this much, then this much is due by April 1st. And I said, that's fine. That's fine. So you whether you have help or not, make sure you set those payment arrangements up. So whether this place would help or not now, because now we're out of disconnect, is a whole nother story. But make sure you have those payment arrangements in order. Because in Colorado here, the law here is if you get a disconnect on your electric, you also get an eviction. So be very careful of those places that are like, we can only help you if you have a disconnect. Because sometimes the electric company is not in cahoots. And just like today, I had gone out for a business meeting and looked at buying insurance as I get on my feet here. And uh, I've been looking into this. So there's life insurance with benefits that I'm looking into, and there's another insurance for like small things that happen. And so this was like if this guy was telling me that he had a customer who hurt his ankle at work, and of course, you have insurance that will take care of your medical bills, but you don't have that income coming in when you can't work. And so this takes care of like your rent and other expenses you may have. And so this is like a middle ground. And I'm like, I love this. This is great. And yes, this makes sense, right? And then he had someone else who I said, how does this work with workman's comp, right? And so someone at another job got hurt with a piece of glass and his bills were not being paid, although workman's comp will give you a little bit. So this is like extra money for when something happens to you. Nobody knows when an accident's going to happen, so it's a good idea. So I was like, okay, how does this differ with, life insurance with living benefits? And so as we were talking, I said, well, I just had, stitches for, a skin tag. And so I literally could not work for a few days because I had to be careful. And this is Medicaid that I took. So the bill is taken care of, but I couldn't get that income. And he was saying if you buy this insurance with Medicaid, Medicaid takes a percentage of this. I'm like, are you serious? I had no idea. And they're like, yeah, they like to have, like, they feel like if they're paying your medical, then they should have a certain percentage of your income that comes in. But he's like, if you don't go with Medicaid, then two different insurances are separate as should be, right? So look out for those you know, like those little nuances, guys, that can really mess your finances up. So, so just take the help, but be careful. And this is mostly for women who, like my husband left, right? So I'm getting the help that I need because my husband left. That's a huge amount of income that would have been part of my life, right? But he divorced. So, yeah, I'm going to take that income. So, I'm going to take the help and I'm going to take everything that I need because my husband left and this is on him. So, just be careful, ladies. And this is great that I have been in this position as things start picking up for me. I've showed everyone, you know, how to make it on very little. I mean, my bills are what? You know, 500 for rent, 200 for, well, less than 200 for storage and a phone. So, like, and some food, like just a little over 700 a month. And my bills are really low and I can eat at work. And plenty of food pantries around here, so you don't even really have to count food. So yeah, I mean that's it. And then if I didn't have my storage, I mean I'd only be paying 520 a month for bills. So this is the time, ladies, to do the changes in your life and pivot and say, okay, how can I invest in myself more? And now that I have the schooling under my belt and I'm like, okay, I know how these classes go. I know what's expected for next semester, then I can work more now. So I have, like I said, interviews coming up during the day. I have more night hours. I will be working weekends, and that's the only way to do it, guys. Do not let yourself fall without enough work, and do not depend on anybody with work. Don't, because we see jobs left and right, you know, going. We see businesses, and this is why my business I'm continuing to build a foundation because when you get into business, there's like, I think it's like 60% of businesses fail. So I've already like done the cleaning stuff for close to what, 7 years plus what I've done, you know, I'm going to say closer to almost 10 years with everything I've done. So that's a good sign. That's not like a 5 year business plan and it goes. So, when you have hit rock bottom in life, whether it's divorce, whether it's illness, whatever reason, ladies, you can get the help you need and you can also use communication to talk to your electric company. And I've gone through this before, and my husband and I were like, what happened? Because they had shut us off and we already had a payment arrangement in place. But then when we talked to someone else, they didn't see that payment arrangement. So be very much on top of everything being recorded. And I even said, send me an email of our conversation. So get the backup in case something happens. Like if they were to shut us off Monday, I'd be like, look, this was paid and this is the agreement. So do that too. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.